Hello everybody, this is Alex from Hardcoring Guides, bringing you my guide for Transformers Devastation on Prime difficulty. We're doing Wheeljack's campaign, and today we're doing Chapter 2, entitled The Proudstar. I believe I got all that correct. Let me move back a little bit here. Once again, too close to the mic. So, that's weird, I have my... Hold on, I could have sworn I heard it, because like I have my speakers off just in case. You know, I don't want any like Discord messages or any of the volume coming in, because... For some odd-ass reason, my right speaker, whenever I turn it on for the day, my computer on for the day, the right speaker just kind of works. I mean, that's where the control function's at, like where everything's controlled at. But the left speaker always, even when I turn down the right one, always just has the left one still up. It's really odd. So, like in my head, I'm hearing sounds. It's bothering me. The first mission of Chapter 2 is... I would say also pretty damn awful. Dealing with ground soldiers of this variety, the big giant Decepticon versions of them. I think they're just called ground soldiers. I think there's just soldiers, and then there's ground, and then I forget what the other ones were called. But dealing with three at once is really kind of annoying because even though in all technicality you can kind of mash dodge through the game, the problem with ground soldiers is they have an issue where they're a lot harder to dodge nearly as often, and I tend to get kind of hit because of the fact that I'm not preparing myself correctly. Thankfully, ground soldiers are not immune to stuns, so like I can at least still do that, thank God for that. And also the Energon Sword, as you have probably no doubt noticed during the gameplay of the last couple of chapters, you know, with that, it at least has a chance to sometimes kind of stun enemies and what have you, so there's that. And then now we're gonna go fight, you know, some Seekers like normal, and you can keep that, you can keep the bombs up there if you really wanted to. I just do a lot of vehicle attacks, dash attacks to basically break shield. This gray Seeker version, these dual blade ones are extremely combo heavy, and I hate fighting them every time. Now, real quick, just to explain something, to do that uppercut move, because I never really understood how to do... I played this game for 90 plus hours now, and I still have no idea what the hell I'm doing at the time. You'd think I would have learned the entire moveset, but I really haven't. That is a hold square or hold triangle after a dodge. And it does work in Prime, but, you know, sometimes in Prime mode, like, you try to do anything, and you just end up getting blocked by an enemy's attack, and it just completely ruins everything anyway. Especially considering the fact that it might ruin your focus time. As annoying as that is. But yeah, these Seeker guys, these models of them, are quite obnoxious. And thankfully, just like with regular enemies, you can use the stun gun, the loudspeaker, to essentially just stun them for a good amount of time. Because unlike bosses, it seems that when it comes to regular enemies, their stun times last way longer. Which, I mean, that's kind of... That's a good thing, of course, because at the very least that means that I know how to, you know, deal with whatever when I need to. And I don't really put it past the game for, you know, giving bosses that extra little oomph of, oh, here you go. Also, I know that technically this is not going to be super professional like it normally used to be. We're going to be just kind of just talking about whatever and just enjoy me playing Prime with Wheeljack. If I got nothing really to talk about, which I don't have too much to say, if I've got nothing to really talk about, or if I want to, you know, explain something that I have not explained before, like right now, for example, I could just explain that real quick. Although I'm not really sure if I've ever explained it. I want to say that you can... I want to say that you don't have to fight the Seekers here. And also I got transfixed, and it just... This could have been the death of me, but thankfully these guys do, like, little to no damage. Even on Prime, it's really weird. But being transfixed fucking sucks because you can't dodge. You can't do a damn thing. It's really annoying. You can't transform. You can't do a fuck thing. So I thought because like since the Sentry Bot has to come back around anyway, that I would just deal with these guys because I don't know if you could technically escape and not have to fight them at all. I didn't really test that out yet. Maybe when I do Grimlock, I could do a test of it, but we'll see. And that brings me into the thing I want to talk about today. So, I haven't started recording the next game yet because I'm still, like, Not 100% sure exactly what I want it to be. Do I want it to be God of War first? Or do I want to save God of War after Grimlock? You know, and I think I've decided, because this was like yesterday and all that, like I think I decided that recently. I'm like, you know what, maybe I should just do God of War Ascension next and then do Grimlock, because I'm actually excited to do Grimlock. I used to be terrified of doing Grimlock campaign in this game, and then I tried it out for myself without recording it, and it just, I don't know what it was, but everything, not everything worked out pretty well, but a lot, like the main combat stuff really held up for Grimlock. I was using the hammer, the Energon hammer and everything, which Optimus and Grimlock can use. I don't think anybody else can. I think it's just those two. But I was using that with like a confused beam or whatever. I didn't have a loudspeaker equipped because, you know, I'd have to go re-equip it from somebody else, which that's going to get annoying when we get to campaign number 6, which is going to be the everybody campaign, where I switch off after every checkpoint. But when we do that, I'll just switch weapons and stuff and probably just edit that shit out. So it'll be a lot more annoying on my part and take a lot longer to play, but like an extra hour worth of gameplay ain't going to really kill me, so it's fine. I mean, you can beat this game like a couple hours. It's ridiculously short. You know, now that I really think about it, honestly, if I had to say there was one major flaw of the game, I mean, a lot of people, let's talk about that. A lot of people would say that one major flaw of the game is the fact that you cannot play Decepticons. It's the fact that you cannot play, you know, all of the Autobots. You can't play all these different characters and stuff. And I agree with that. I'm not trying to disagree with that. But I do not wholeheartedly agree. I have the sentiment of, well, there's 5 fucking characters, that's plenty enough. And, you know, realistically speaking, it really is. I don't know. I mean, I understand there's quite more characters. It would have been cool to play Decepticons. But this is not a Warriors game, so this is just, you know, it is what it is. It's unfortunate. Like, yes, it would have been cool to play Megatron. Yes, it would have been cool to play Blitzwing. And now that I really think about it, it would have been possible. But here's the thing, though, too. But this only applies to me. This has nothing to do... This is why I don't wholeheartedly agree, because it only applies to me. The reason why I wouldn't really care either way... Although, okay, I would like it, but the reason that I'm kind of almost slightly glad that they didn't do that is because that would mean I had to do, like, 10 more campaigns of this one goddamn game. And let's just say that, you know, 1 was enough, and doing 5, like, main characters, and then after that doing an entire campaign run of, like, every main character together, switching off every checkpoint and what have you, is... It's going to be a lot. So, I guess in that fact, I'm okay with it not existing. However, as... Okay, let's just say hypothetically that they did have, like, 10 different Autobots, and then, like, I don't know, 10 different Decepticons or whatever. Or just whatever amount that they would have, right? Because I'm not a big Transformers guy, so I don't really know a lot of this stuff. I just play a lot of Transformers Devastation because it's one of my favorite Platinum games to play. And the crazy part is I've played this game for like 90 hours now. At least that's what PlayStation tells me, which doesn't seem like a lot, really, when you think about it. I've played this game quite a bit. I had to beat it on normal, then I had to beat it, I think, on hard. Well, either way, I had to beat it on Magnus just to get Prime difficulty to unlock. And then, well, now we're doing like our 4th Prime, and we got like 2 more on the way. So, yeah, like I've played this game plenty enough to the point where you could argue it's definitely one of my favorite Platinum games. If probably not even just my favorite, just by method of, you know, playing the game just a lot. Now, I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I think MGR is probably the one that still holds the title for that. However, this game and Vanquish, you know, and to an extent Bayonetta. Bayonetta's kind of actually, this might upset some people, but Bayonetta 1 is actually kind of lower on the end of my favorite Platinum games. And keep in mind, when I say favorite, I mean the games that I actually do like. I still have yet to actually beat Astral Chain, so I have no idea if I like that game or not. Korra was fine. I've never played Infinite Space, but then again, it's a DS, like RTS type game, I think it was, or RPG or whatever, so, I'm also not really a big fan of Nier Automata, but that was just more so Platinum working on it. And we don't count the Clover games. When I'm talking about Platinum, I'm strictly talking about Platinum. If I included Clover, then God Hand would be in there. And Mad World is also on... It's also lower on the end. The reason why Bayonetta is lower for me in terms of like favorite Platinum games is simply because of its length. And that's where I think that Platinum Games really knows how to shine really well at, is in two different categories. They know how to make a good arcadey length game, and at the same time making it arcadey difficult. Okay, three things. And then just having amazing gameplay. You know, oh yeah, sorry my nose is all stuffy. It's been like that. I didn't think I was going to do it in this recording today, so if I sound super stuffy, that's why. So yeah, like, I would argue that, yeah, this is probably like my top 5 favorite Platinum Games game. MGR probably still being number 1. And then, I don't, like, this is probably just tied for number 1 at that point. Well, I mean, maybe a little less. I feel like when it comes to MGR, like, I kind of hold MGR in more of a higher regard than I do Transformers Devastation, weirdly enough. You would think that after all the times I've played this fucking game, you'd think I would actually hold it a lot higher than I have, but not real. I feel like, because, I don't know, there's certain parts of it that are just like, I don't like that shit, you know. But then again, you can say that about MGR as well. Like, I don't like the sewer section of MGR either, but I still wholeheartedly love the game. I'm actually not a big fan of the Armstrong fight, not gonna lie. You know, there's plenty of stuff that just, you know, I've played it enough to where I'm like, yeah, I don't really care for that part anymore, or whatever. And Transformers kind of falls in that same category. For TMNT, though, that's a rough one. TMNT, I remember, like, when it came out, I bought it pretty much, like, I think, like, day one. And just played it for a bit, didn't beat it, but then I realized, like, this is... Well, I told myself, I'm like, this is shit. I hate this. I fucking hate it. This is like the worst Platinum Games game ever. Platinum Games is falling. They have fallen, you know. That's what I used to say about that shit. And then I played it again. I finally beat it, like, years back. And kind of came around the opinion of, it wasn't really that bad. It's got good music. I mean, there's one thing I can say. It's got great music. Sorry. However, the overall gameplay loop, just the whole open world vibe of it, just... It didn't really mesh with me very well, and the fact that there's no offline co-op, like, that single-handedly pisses me off more than anything. The fact that they couldn't just incorporate couch co-op is like the stupidest fucking thing that they could have easily probably done, but they just fucking did it. They just didn't. And I don't know why, and it pisses me off. But yeah, like other Platinum games that I really love, like Bayonetta, Vanquish. Oh my god, Vanquish is definitely up there for sure. There's no doubt about it. I love playing some Vanquish, but at the same time, like, there are days when I would still probably rather play, you know, Transformers, or I would rather play MGR. It depends, right? It depends on my mood. If I'm in the mood for a shooter, like a really good, fast-paced, good shooter, then I know I'm in for a pretty decent campaign. Mad World's kind of on the lower end, and like I said, Bayonetta. Like, I know that sounds really stupid saying that Bayonetta's kind of on the lower end because of its length of it. But you gotta understand that, you know, a lot of Platinum games tend to be very short. So you kind of get used to that. And then when you play their magnum opus, Bayonetta itself, I kind of feel a little bit exhausted, you know, halfway through. I'm like, okay, I'm getting kind of tired. I've played, you know, because that's the thing. Short and sweet is how I like stuff. But not to the point where it's ridiculous. I didn't really grow up playing arcade games, to be fair, but I did play a lot of games like, you know, Crash and Spyro and what have you that were kind of just lengthy enough to the point where they didn't overstay their welcome. And I feel like a lot of games try way too hard, especially nowadays, to do that. They try way too hard to take up your time, and I'm an action type guy, you know, which is funny because there's a part of me that has a meet in the middle, or not even like a meet in the middle thing, but I have two ways of kind of working about where it's like I don't know. I guess it really depends on the game. I'm probably saying a bunch of shit that's like super hypocritical, like of everything I'm saying. But just hear me out. Like I like visual novels from time to time, right? I don't mind. And I just, when it comes to it, when I'm playing a game, I kind of want to play a game. You know, I don't want to sit there and watch fucking cutscenes all day. So, like, if you're going to give me a goddamn game, can I fucking have it? Like, if you're going to have cutscenes, can you make them cool? You know, that's what I've always been kind of that's what I've always kind of been about. And God of War, you know, the cutscenes are always fine, but they are a little annoying that the fact that you can't skip them in, like, in older games. But they don't really last super long, except for a few. Like, every time you have to see, you know, Kratos' fucking past, like, we get it. You know, I played the first game, I get it. I understand that's probably there for, like, other people that haven't played one, you know, or whatever, but still, like, oh, God. They do that, like, 3 times. Like, God of War 1, God of War 2, I think, does it. God of War Chains of Olympus does it. It's like, ugh. But Chains of Olympus, you can skip cutscenes, thank God. I don't know, like, when it comes to it, like I said, I don't mind playing an RPG every now and then. You know, I don't mind that. It just depends on my mood, of course. But if I'm gonna be offered the chance to play a hack and slash, which that's, I guess you could say, the main thing I'm getting at, or shooter. If I'm gonna play a hack and slash or a shooter, something that is relatively normalized as quick action, right? I mean, not every single one of them is like that, but a lot of them are. I'm gonna expect that, and if I don't get that, then my brain is just not gonna probably like it too much. And that's not to say that, like, oh, there's no way in hell I'm gonna like insert game here that's slower and methodical. That's not true either. I'm just saying, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anymore. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, when it came to the expectations of, because, like, yeah, Bayonetta came out first. You know, I played Bayonetta first, right, before all this. You know, even before that, I played DMC. So I was already kind of used to, well, even then, DMC is not really that long, but you know, you kind of get used to Bayonetta being what Bayonetta is. You're like, okay, it's kind of long, but, you know, whatever. It's got that good action, good gameplay, whatever, right? And all that. And then you play a lot of these games like MGR and Transformers and, you know, Korra and what have you. And they're a lot shorter, and it's like, ooh, I actually really like that, because, like, it gets right to the point, doesn't overstay its welcome, and I just have a good time playing it. Mad World is definitely one of those games. I also forgot Anarchy Reigns exists. Mad World is one of those types of games where it does, funny enough, actually both, kind of, where it can be short and sweet. But my God, the fact that, like, whenever you die completely, you have to start all the way over in that fucking stage just takes forever. And it's like, I just don't want to do it anymore, because realistically speaking, the game is, for what it's worth, really, really repetitive. Even though Mad World may be a cool game, you know, I have my fun with it, but holy shit, is it fucking annoying sometimes. Hell, even to an extent, like, I mean, I know that No More Heroes kind of tries to change up stuff from time to time in certain games, but even that game can get kind of slightly repetitive, except for maybe one. I feel like one probably did it best in terms of pacing. Even though you probably do have to go do missions or go do jobs or whatever, at least every time you go fight a boss, you go do a different job or a different, you know, assassination mission right after. Like, you could at the very least have something different to do and not just be stuck doing the same shit. Whereas with No More Heroes 3, even though I respect 3 a lot more than I did before, that's definitely one of those games where, yeah, it took me a bit to kind of start really liking it enough. I think it's okay now. I have not too many problems with it. I think it's fine. The bosses are kind of whatever, but that's my opinion. I don't know. I don't know. Especially the final boss. I think that was just kind of a waste of potential. Like, it had this whole big thing going on where, like, all this big excitement about him, and then you fight him. Like, you actually fight him, and it's just like, okay, it's not that really, you know, crazy big boss, final boss thing I was thinking of. I mean, the Smash joke was funny, but other than that, it's like I kind of want like an actiony boss. Like, you know, there's a lot of bosses and just a lot of villain or a lot of enemies in this game that are very action heavy. So I was kind of hoping that I would at least get that out of it, but not really. Look, again, even though I'm bitching about things that make no sense, let's just pretend like, okay, he's all sniffly, he's all stuffy, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So if in the future you're like, oh, I remember that one time when you said that No More Heroes 3 was good, and I say like, I don't remember that, then just keep that in mind. Like, today's video is just, who the fuck knows? Like, I just got off work, I'm still stuffy as shit. You know, I'm saying things that don't make any goddamn sense. All I'm trying to get at is that I like the short and sweet games when it comes to Platinum games, or just hack and slash games in general. I don't like games that need to overstay too much, because you can only really do so much with a hack and slash game and a shooter before it just gets boring. I feel like Fear had pretty good length, Doom Eternal had pretty good length, you know, but Bayonetta has like, I want to say like 18 fucking chapters or whatever, and they're all relatively pretty long. I mean, yeah, you got platforming in it, but it's Bayonetta, so... Which, to be fair, Bayonetta 1, in my opinion, is much better than Bayonetta 3 ever was, and ever will be. Because at least in Bayonetta 1 and 2, there's at least some fucking platforming. So, see, that's how you break the monotony. That's where I guess you could probably say I'm wrong at, which, that's fine, you know. All I'm getting at is, like, for a Platinum game, I would like Bayonetta to be a bit shorter, but it's what it is, and it's still a cool game. All this bitching just to say, like, yeah, it's still a top 5 favorite game for Platinum games. However, you know, it's nowadays kind of probably on the lower end. But it definitely deserves the respect that it deserves, because it added Witch Time. You know, it's got Witch Time, it's got all these crazy combo stuff you can pull off. It's still a really good, high-quality fucking game. I'm just saying that, like, would I rather play Bayonetta all the way through right now, or play Transformers Devastation all the way through right now? Which one do you think I'm going to pick? You know? So, yeah. That's how I feel about it. Same thing with Vanquish. I could probably beat Vanquish in a day if I really wanted to, but Bayonetta, not really. I just don't really feel like doing that. It feels like a lot of work. You know, it's a cool game, but it just feels like a lot of work. Also, for this part, I actually got pretty lucky. Or at the very least, more lucky than I usually do. Sorry. I got a lot more, smarter with this part than I used to be, because as you can see, I'm trying to actually do, well, not fight enemies. I'm trying to actually break the shield and just get rid of the damn thing and not have to fight dudes. I basically just said fuck that shit. I'm not doing what I used to do anymore. Fuck all that noise, because I'm tired of doing it. And then I got the focus going, so I got time to slow down. But anyway, okay, we got about another 30 seconds left. All right. Yeah, this is the problem with this fight, though, is if you get stuck fighting these assholes back here, you have to fight with, you know, being pushed back and trying to dodge their moves. Of course, if you happen to get a dodge going, you get a focus going, then, you know, slows down time, helps out, you know, tremendously, of course, but still. Anyway, that's it for this. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time for Chapter 3. And, of course, as always, take care, everybody.